Welcome to the Her Vibe is Pretty podcast, where you'll be guided on how to step up into your evolved woman,
design your dream life, and start living it. Let's get vibey. Hey there, welcome back to this week's episode of Her Vibe is Pretty. We are so excited to share a very, very juicy manifestation story with you guys today. But
I'm excited.
I know, I have like a million questions for you. But before we do, let's talk about what we're feeling vibey about.
Okay.
Do you want to go first or do you want me to?
Yeah, I'll go. Okay. So, the main thing I'm feeling vibey about is what I'm going to explain later. So we'll skip that. But the second thing that I'm feeling vibey about is really stepping up my game when it comes to clean products. Now, I've been into holistic health for like 4 years. I want to say I got my certification as an integrated nutrition health coach 4 years ago. So that's really when I went all in on holistic health. So ever since taking that program, which if you guys don't know, I went to the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. You guys have probably maybe heard of it before. It's like the biggest nutrition school in the world. So when I did that, I got really serious about shifting into clean products. So when I say clean products, I mean products that don't have a bunch of chemicals that damage hormones and that are cancerous and that are like just bad for our overall health. So I started to shift my products a bit, and especially like my makeup, and I stopped using lotion. I just started using coconut oil, my skincare, especially because I was dealing with the hormone imbalance at the time. And what I found out was that a lot of the products were actually.
I feel like there's so much more light being shown, shining on this topic now more than ever before. And I feel like so many people were like, oh, I was using these products assuming they were safe because they're being sold to everyone at the store.
Yep.
But then find out later, like all these hormone imbalances and all these skin conditions or like different things that are coming up. And it's like, oh, I'm using poison.
Yeah. Infertility, cancer, like it's all linked back to hormone imbalance. Like I said, it's all linked back to a lot of it is linked back to what we're putting in our skin. And actually there's a new show. I haven't watched it yet. I think it's called Not That Pretty or Not So Pretty. It's on HBO and Kiki Palmer is the narrator of it. And it talks about this stuff, and it talks about the facts and the proof that backs all of this. So anyway, I've gotten really clean, but there have always been those products that I like try to buy clean, but I'm not super perfect at it. So for example, Myers brand, like the MEYERS, I would use their cleaners, but like I also know that they're actually not. They claim to be clean and pure, and they're probably a little bit better than like Clorox or like the bigger brands, but they're not really that.
They're like greenwashing is what people say.
Yeah.
I actually still use that soap. Like we have all our hand soaps. They smell so good, I think. But I had a friend that came over that's really into that kind of stuff too. And she said that she was like, yeah, that one's like actually not as good as you would think. How are we supposed to?
I know, it's so hard. We have to look out for ourselves. That's how we're supposed to know. Like watch the shows, educate ourselves, because nobody else is looking out for us. So like Myers, and then with my hair, it's been a journey because I'm blonde and purple shampoo is like almost necessary. In just in general, I'm really trying to improve my hair game. So it's been really tough to find a good clean product for that. So the hair and then the cleaning are where I haven't been like super clean and pure with my products. So anyways, what is making me feel very vibey is as of lately, I'm super devoted to purifying everything, including cleaners. So in hair products as well. So I found this hair product in Europe. It's called Oway. So OWAY. And the place I got my hair done, they use all their products and they're clean and they actually work. So I started using like one of their like glossy oils, and I'm loving what it's doing for my hair. So when I was in Fort Lauderdale, I bought their purple shampoo and their conditioner, and I'm obsessed. And then yesterday I ordered the starter kit for Branch Basics. Have you heard of that?
I think I've gotten their ads on Instagram before.
Okay, yeah. So
is that the one that sends you the glass jars and then you fill them?
Yep. So like they send you the jars, and then they'll send you the concentrate, and then on the jars they tell you how much concentrate and how much water to put in it depending on what it is. So they have like cleaning solution, hand soap, laundry detergent. So I posted on Earth Day, I was just like curious what people do to help our earth heal. And
Mhm.
multiple people said branch basics. And so I was like, okay, I got to look into it. But then one of my, not one of mine, she's a good friend. She was actually on our podcast, Dr. Jenny. She's really big into functional medicine and she's all about hormone balancing. And she replied to me saying that branch basics is amazing. I'm like, okay, if it has your stamp of approval, I'm doing it.
There you go.
Because not only is it great for the environment, but it's also way healthier for our bodies. Yes. So I ordered the starter kit. So all of it is on its way. And the manifestation story I'm about to tell in a second is about the house that Zach and I are in the process of buying. And I'm making this new rule. What did I tell Zach? It's NBC, nothing but clean. So that's like my new rule is NBC, nothing but clean products are going through our front door.
I love that.
I'm devoted to it just because, yeah, I'm all about preventative medicine. And I know that that's still in the works as far as like studies go, proving that preventative medicine is real. But I know in my heart that there are so many things that we can do to help us prevent diseases and like all of these horrible things that ruin our lives later on in life if we don't wake up to this stuff now. So I'm doing it for me first, obviously, and for my family, for my future family, for my kids. I just really, and for everybody who follows me on Instagram too, like I want to be an embodiment of this to help the world heal on this preventative medicine level.
Yeah, I love that so much. And I know that's something that we strive for as well. And I know one tip that I'll share with you guys is we kind of started in like one category and then made our way like around the house. So, you know, don't feel like you need to do it all at once because that can feel very daunting and overwhelming and expensive to have to like get rid of all your stuff and then buy all new stuff. But if you kind of start small, so say like for us, it was our hand soaps, which you use the Meyer ones, but I've had a couple other brands that are kind of like on my watch list. And when we finish through all the Meyer stuff that we have, then we'll probably try some of those other brands as well. I don't even remember what they are. They're like in my Amazon cart or something like that. Like I have them saved, but it's like you start there and then you do like your hand soaps. And then maybe you're like, okay, now next time when I run out of my laundry detergent, I'm going to try this other one or
your foundation.
Like, so your foundation, your makeups, like as you start using your stuff up, like then as you're buying new stuff, buy these, you know, cleaner brands and these cleaner products. And before you know it, you're going to have all clean stuff. So, ooh, branch basics though.
Yeah. You should look it up.
I will. Well, it's I
think it's like $70 for a starter kit and you get everything. So yeah, I'm super, super excited about it. So yeah, it's making me feel
report back and let us know.
I will.
Once you get your kit and use it.
I definitely will. Okay. So what's making you feel that?
Oh my gosh. Well, mine's way trashier. Since we talked about clean stuff with you, we're going to talk about trash.
Tomato, aren't you?
How did you know?
I knew it.
Okay.
Tell me, because I was on my period and that's usually when I watch Netflix is when I'm on my moon doing nothing. And I was like, okay, I want to start something. And I started the ultimatum and I literally watched it for 5 minutes and I was like, nope. And then I saw that you were watching it. So sell me on it.
Okay. So I got sucked in and I don't watch these kind of shows very often. It's like one of those reality dating shows. And the premise of this show is that all the couples, one person in the couple gave the other one an ultimatum, marry me or we're done. So Netflix found all of these couples and brings them together onto the show where they're given this opportunity to meet other people, pick someone else that they would like to do like a trial marriage with that's not the person that they came with. And then they basically like live with that person for 3 weeks. And then at the end of the show, they're going to decide. I haven't finished it yet. Although I've watched a freaking spoiler today. So I like kind of know how some of the couples are going to end, but anyways. And then, then you get to like watch them go through this like dating experience with someone else. And it's kind of like shining a light of like, is this person that I came here with someone that I really want to be with? Or am I kind of having my eyes open to like the problems in my relationship and like maybe what was causing me to feel this need for the ultimatum or vice versa? Like the reason I'm not wanting to marry this person, you know, they're kind of getting the light shown on these things. And it is juicy. It is trashy. It is like a car accident that you cannot turn away from.
Oh my God.
But okay, so that's part of why this is on Netflix, you guys. The part that is making me feel vibey is that I've been sharing about it on my Instagram story, and that I've been getting so many messages from people, and we're like talking about it. And I feel like it reminds me of like watching shows together with your girlfriends. Yeah. And it's so fun. And I feel like now as an adult, I don't really do that anymore. Yeah. Like, okay, we were joking about this with like some of my neighbor friends. Like, does Zach play video games? Mm-mm. Okay, so Jake plays video games at night. Like once Ava's in bed, I'm in bed, he like goes downstairs and games for like an hour, a couple hours, and then comes to bed after. And I'm totally fine with it. Like, I know some people are like, that's like a very touchy subject for some couples, but for us, I'm like, do your thing, man.
You do that, and I'm gonna watch Ultimate.
But the thing with playing video games for Jake is like, these games they're like group internet games. So he like gets on with all of his friends from high school that he would never see normally. And they all like talk, and they all have kids. So kids are all in bed, you know, wives are in bed. And then they all come together and like hang out every night and talk and play this game together. And I'm like, I wish girls had that. Like, I'm not about to play Warzone. Like
it's gonna happen. I guarantee you, with virtual reality, we're all gonna be able to put on our VR goggles and watch shows together in the metaverse.
Okay. A total side note, now that you brought it up, have you ever tried those goggles before?
One time, but my mom just bought some for her boyfriend, and we've been dying to get over there and play with them.
They are wild.
I bet.
So my brother-in-law has them. Every time we go over, I'm like, tell him to make sure his goggles are charged before I get there. Because it is so immersive. So, I mean, yeah, we could like talk forever about that too, but that's what I've been feeling vibey about, is having that like group connection and group talk. And like before COVID, and even like a little bit with COVID when the weather was nicer, but like I used to do like a yoga book club with a group of people here in Grand Rapids. And like, it's just so fun. I'm like just being reminded how fun it is to like get together and talk about a show or talk about a book, or like watch the show together and be like, oh my God, can you believe this happened? Or can you believe that's happened? Like, I just forgot how much I love that. And so it's like making me want to do it even more with like other shows that I watch. So but the ultimatum's juicy. I mean, it's trashy, but it's juicy.
We'll see how I'm feeling on my next move. Maybe I'll try it again. But I love that. That reminds me of when I was the last time I was living in Grand Rapids, like 3 years ago. And my roommate and I would go watch The Bachelor or The Bachelorette with some girls. And it was so much fun. But it's like, the online connection is so beautiful because we can connect with so many people around the world. And I love the in-person connection too. Mm-hmm. Like, that's where I feel like I'm going. So if you guys don't know, if you're living in the Midwest, Mary, did you see this? I'm doing rooftop breath work all summer.
You mentioned it, but do you have official dates picked and stuff?
So the first one's May 14th. So I'm just like really excited that I'm doing that, because I love the in-person, because I do virtual breath work twice a month in my membership and people can drop in, but just that in-person is so different. And so I'm super excited to host that for people, but I'm also like really wanting to go to more in-person things. I feel like we talked about this on the last episode about doing more in-person breath work, but I'm signed up for like a sound healing event Saturday night. I'm stoked about. Nice. I want to start like we did talk about this, because remember I told you I want to start pottery classes, and you're like, I'll do it with you.
Yes.
Yeah, we're doing it. Okay. So it's going to be more accessible for you and I too, because we're going to be living closer together. So should we just talk about like what's going on?
Okay, Sarah, so a little background, you guys, like Sarah told me the outline of this, and we both were like, no, we need to talk about it on the podcast and actually like talk about it in real time together. Because I feel like you and I have a habit of like saying everything before we even press record, and then by the podcast we're like, oh, we should have recorded this conversation. Always. So with that being said, you guys are like, we're all hearing this for the first time together.
Okay, so Mary knows a little tiny bit, but I told her, I'm like, details we're saving for the podcast because everybody needs to hear this. So you guys all know about manifestation. If you've been listening, unless this is your very first time listening to our show and you're brand new to the space, maybe you don't. If that's the case, we have episodes on manifestation. You can just Google what manifestation means and you'll get enough context to understand where I'm going with this. But most of you know what manifestation is. And I fully, wholeheartedly believe in the concept and believe that we are all manifesting our lives 100% of the time. And I like to use manifestation intentionally. And so this manifestation is just, it's like one of those manifestations that's so big and so wild that as it was coming to fruition, I felt like I was in a dream, like literally in a dream.
I love that.
So before I get there, I'm going to back you guys up. I'm going to give you some backstory. And I also have some screenshots of text that went on in this process. I just want to give you guys like the full picture of how I manifested what I manifested, just so that you guys can take what I'm sharing and apply it to your life, whether you're in a similar situation or a different. I want to just give you guys like more of a breakdown of the steps and like who I was being and who I was embodying during this process to actually bring what I really desire to fruition.
Yeah, I think this is so valuable too, because you can read so many books, you can listen to so many podcasts that'll give you these tips and these tricks and these practices. But I know sometimes in the moment it can be a little challenging. Like, how do I actually apply this? Like, I get what I should be doing, but then to actually do it can be kind of tricky. Right. And I think that's what's so valuable. And I know that's one reason why I personally love hearing other people's manifestation stories, because it shows you how these things are applied and not just like what to do, but how to do it. So,
and it gives the mind evidence, because the minds are so quick to not believe in it. And I'll bring that up too, because of course the mind in me got in the way a couple of times, but I dropped back into my body and into my truth that manifestation works, which is how I got there. But it's nice to, I remember when I first started learning about manifestation, and even to this day, I love hearing stories, because it just creates more and more evidence in the mind that this is real. Even though we can't see it, it is always working.
Yeah.
So, okay. As you guys know from last episode, if you listened to last episode, if you didn't, I'll give you a little recap. Zach and I were in the process of searching for a home. So we flipped a house last year, and we've kind of just been like sitting on the money of that sale, knowing that we want to buy another house and we want to get more into rental properties. So our goal or our idea is, and this comes from Mary and her husband, Jake, they're the ones who gave us this wise advice, is to buy a house, live in it for a year, and then start renting it out, rinse and repeat, like over and over again until we have a solid amount of rental properties. So that is our goal. And so Zach and I, we start this process of house hunting. Now, Mary, I'm just curious, what have you heard about house hunting in the housing market in the last year, 2 years? What are some things you've heard?
That it is impossible to buy a house. And if you put an offer in on a house, I hope you have a cash offer to put down, because they're only accepting cash offers. And I hope that you can spend $50,000 over asking price, because no one is taking the actual price that they're listing the house for. It's going to go for thousands and thousands and thousands. You're going to deal with so many competitive offers. Ugh.
So many no's. It's such a hard market. This market
so hard. Everything is impossible.
You're going to get a billion no's before you get a yes, like all the things, right? So Zach and I have also heard that in the past 2 years. And we were aware of those beliefs going into this process. And from the start, I told him we are not buying into it. Yes, on paper, it seems to be that way right now. And there are a lot of people who are experiencing that. And I don't live my life according to the general societal beliefs. I just choose not to. I choose to put my focus and energy and attention into the energetic realm that we cannot see, where miracles are possible and happen if you believe in it.
But like, let's pause right there, because that alone is such an important piece of not buying into this, of having like, no, I'm going to live the life I want to live and the life I choose to live in the reality that I desire.
Yeah.
But how did you get to that point where you're like, I'm able to block out all these things that people are saying and stay so in tune with what you desire and what you want to believe for your reality?
So I'll give you pieces of throughout the journey of how I dropped back into that. But in general, you're right. Like that was like a really prominent piece of the story, is just seeing what people were experiencing. And Abraham Hicks is always like talking about how in life, you're supposed to just collect data. If you see somebody who has what you want, you collect data like, oh, I want that. And if you go through something that's like hard, you're like, okay, this is just data that I don't want this. Or if you see somebody going through something that they're struggling with, or they're miserable about and upset over. It's just data that you don't want it. So when I heard all these things about the housing market, I instantly was like, I don't want that. And it's just knowing what I know is like, I can have what I desire. If I don't want that hard, like struggle experience of getting a house, I don't have to. That can be other people's realities, but it doesn't have to be mine. Mm-hmm. So I put that out there first and foremost. And I also made it very clear to Zach. Now, Zach, my partner, he is definitely open to manifestation, and he's learned a ton about it since he started dating me. And he's not like 2 feet fully in yet. He's still on his journey of like awakening to the powers of it. And he's come so far. So he's like, what I'm trying to say is he's on board, but he's not like I always had to remind him like, hey, that's not going to be our reality. There's always another way. So anyway, I put it out there. I shared with him, we're not buying into this. We are going to put the belief out there right now that it's going to be a fun process. It's going to be simple. We are going to manifest the house that we desire and the location we desire. I had him and we had so many conversations, especially when he visited me in Europe, like, what do we want out of a house? Because we're going to be living there for a year. Yes, it will be a rental eventually, but we're going to be there for a year, maybe even 2. Who knows what will happen? So we decided what we desired, and we just decided like it is going to be easy, and we're going to put our focus and attention there instead of this is so hard. And if something happens that makes it seem hard, we're not going to let that get us down. We're going to feel through it. And then we're going to come back to our truth that our house is on our way. So I put that out there, and we had that conversation multiple times, and we began the house hunt. So I found 2 properties that looked intriguing when I was in Europe. And our realtor is one of my best friends, Kenzie, who's also very into manifestation, which is huge, because I also think that plays a role here, even though I believe that what I'm taking you guys through carried a lot of the weight energetically. Like having Kenzie and Zach like also be in alignment with we can manifest what we desire was really powerful. 3 minds coming together, manifesting together was potent. So
and because you all have the same common goal, and like I don't want to get too off the story at this point either, but it's like that idea that you can't like manifest things for other people, like you're manifesting your own reality. But when you're have a common goal with other people that believe the same things and are doing the same practices and attracting that same energy, all for the same goal that all 3 of you guys wanted in that situation, that's when things can really magnify.
Totally. And I also want to mention too, because this got brought up in my Creatrix course, and I want to just bring it up again because I know people will ask, even if your partner is not on board, or even if you don't have a realtor who's like super on board, you still have the power to manifest what you desire. You are potent enough to do that on your own. And it just makes it, I feel like it just like speeds up the process maybe when there are a couple others involved, or like makes it smoother. Because I do think that even if Kenzie and Zach weren't on board with like the manifesting and the energetic realms and all of that, it would have still been the same outcome. We would have still manifested this house, but I think it just would have been maybe a little bit more like there would have been more resistance. It wouldn't have been as
you just like when you're together and you're vibing and it's like everyone's feeling good, everyone's like laughing, having a good time, like that's magnetic. And so it's the same thing with this energy. Same thing with the energy. Totally.
So okay, so like let's talk about, we start this house hunt, right? And so from the get-go we decided it's going to be fun, it's going to be easy. And this is another belief that I put out there because I truly to my core believe it, which is what helped us manifest this house. The house that is meant for us will be ours. The house that is not meant for us will not be ours. So that belief in itself carried me through this whole process. So I find 2 houses when I'm in Europe. I send them to Zach and Kenzie. I'm like, can you guys go see these? And Kenzie was leaving a couple days later for Miami, like with me. So these are like the only ones that they got to see before I got home. So they go and see these houses, and these houses are decent and they also need some renovating. And long story short, we get a text or a message saying that this one house that we bid on, which we did bid $35K over. So mind you that Zach and I do have a budget. Like we did have a budget, and when we decided what we wanted, we decided also what we wanted to pay, the range we wanted to pay. And we decided we would not go over that because, like you said, Mary, like a lot of people are like, oh, you have to have all cash offers and you have to be like 50 grand over. Well, that's just not feasible for us right now because it's going to be a rental property. So we had this like range that we needed to stick to.
Mm-hmm.
So we get this message saying that one of the houses that we bid on, which we bid 35K over because that was like still in our budget, they got over 30 offers, which this house ended up getting over 58 offers. Now, when we got that message that this house received that, we could have gone into the thought pattern that most might, like, oh, there's no chance we're ever going to get this house. We might as well forget it. 58 offers. Like we only bid 35K over. We don't have an all cash offer. Like we could have went that route, but we didn't. My response, word for word, was yay. Like when I found out that I had 30, this was when I knew I had over 30 offers. I genuinely felt like excited. I was like, yay, may the highest bidder land the home that's meant for them. We shall see. Like that wasn't like, this isn't for us. It's not ours. It's never going to happen. It was, may the highest bidder or whoever this home is meant for, it will be for them. Like we'll see. And then my next text was, I'm also happy for the sellers. Like how cool. Because a lot of the times when we get messages like that, especially in, once again, you guys can apply this to anywhere else in your life. But if you are somebody who's resonating with the home buying process, it can be really easy to be discouraged when you hear that a house has 30, 50 offers. But instead, I tapped into abundance and trust that if this home is meant for us, it will be ours. If it's not, so excited for the people who it's meant for. And I'm super stoked, like abundance energy. I'm so stoked for the sellers. How cool that they put their house up and they got 30, ended up being 58 offers. Like good for them. So when you tap into abundance in anywhere in life, even if you don't yet have what you desire, it makes it way more likely that your desires are going to manifest. Because anytime you're living from a place of scarcity, you're pushing away your desires.
Yep. The other piece that I think is really important here is that surrender.
Yeah.
Letting go of that control of like, this has to be the house for me.
Exactly.
Surrendering and trusting this house is going to end up with whoever is meant to have this house.
100%.
And when we try to control, like our mind loves to control everything. When our mind controls and tells us like, this needs to be the house for us, and I'm going to be upset if that house isn't for us, we're not actually trusting. And we're building more resistance into the situation that's only going to prevent it from happening even more.
Well, think about it. When you have resistance, especially if you're like, this has to be ours, this is our house, you don't get it, you're sad, there's resistance. It's like, oh my God, you're so upset. And resistance, just think of it like this, resistance repels manifestations. So, and the thing is, this house, I loved it. When I saw it on like on Zillow or whatever, I was obsessed. I'm like, oh, this is so cute. It's so perfect. Like be perfect for us. And it was like, and if it is actually perfect for us, like my mind thinks, it will be ours. If it's not, it's not.
Yeah.
So that was just one
surrender is a very necessary, even before the housing market was crazy. Like if you flash back a few years when Jake and I started buying rental properties in the area, I always went into all of those situations with that open mind of like, I'm going to come here. This seems like a really great opportunity and I'm going to put my best offer forward and then allow things to be.
Yes.
And sometimes they would work out and we'd get a hell of a deal on a house. And sometimes there'd be several, this was like, again, before the craziness, but there'd be 3 other offers and they were all higher. And you know what? We weren't in a position to put more on this property. So again, wasn't meant to be. And guess what? Later down the road, we'd find one that was even better. Exactly. And it just, you allow those things to be in those situations, and it makes it feel more flowy. It makes it feel more fun, which is then going to ultimately attract whatever you are desiring, whether it's a home, whatever you're trying to manifest in your life is going to be more drawn to that energy than that frustration, that scarcity, that resistance.
Yep. And so something you said too reminds me of the mantra, it's this or something better. Yes. So that's essentially what I was embodying here. It's like, this house is adorable. It's so cute. I could totally see us living here. It's either this or something better.
Yes. I love, that's a really good, you guys write that mantra down. That has been a big one for me the last couple of years, and it's gold.
Yeah. So once again, these are just kind of like snapshots from the journey, because I went back through my text feed with my realtor and Zach and screenshotted what I thought would be important to bring to you guys to help you realize how we manifested what we did. So that was one situation. So it ended up being that the Zach and Kenzie went and looked at 2 houses, and we put offers on both of them, and we did not get them. And so once again, we didn't say like, oh, the market's hard, oh, it's going to take forever. We surrendered and we're like, all right, it's not meant for us. Like, let's keep going. So there was like a little bit of a gap because Kenzie and I went to Miami, and we were both there for 2 weeks. And so I flew back on a Friday. She was coming back on a Saturday. Zach worked Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So the other thing that I declared at the beginning of this process, and I kind of mentioned it to you guys before, but this is going to be fun. This is going to be easy. This is going to flow. It's going to feel good the whole time. Okay. So like, I believe that the things that are meant for us will be in that energy. So I find this house that on like, I think it was like Friday night. So Kenzie was still in Miami, which once again, Kenzie's a realtor, just to keep you guys straight with the story. So I find this house and I send it to Kenzie and Zach, and she was like, okay, offers are due Sunday night. Well, Zach worked Sunday until 7 p.m. and he also worked Saturday until 7 p.m. So right away, Zach couldn't see this house, which is kind of like sticky energy. We don't really like love that. We wanted Zach to be able to see it before we offer. So I'm looking at these texts. Kenzie and I are kind of going back and forth, trying to figure out when her and I could go see it. And it just wasn't aligning. Like, she could go see it at this one time, but I felt resistance to seeing it at the time that she could see it. And then like, she was coming back from a long trip. She ended up getting a migraine that next Sunday. It was just like, when we were trying to figure out a time to go see it, there was just resistance. And so once again, like, it wasn't like a smooth, like, yep, this time's available. Okay, we can all go at this time. Let's do it. It was just kind of like there was resistance. So once again, word for word, I'm going to read you guys the text that I sent to her. I said, let's just chalk it up to not meant to be. I feel like the house we're meant to buy will be a smooth process the whole way through. I also feel resistant to seeing it Saturday or Sunday since we're both coming home from long vacations. So once again, I'm listening to my intuition. There was resistance and it wasn't flowing to go see this home. The mind in me was like, oh, but the home is so cute. Oh, but the home is in such a great location. Oh, but the home would be perfect for us. Oh, but the home is a great price. But there was resistance in going to see it. So I took that as a sign that, nope, the house that's meant for us, it will flow. So that's just like another big piece of this is when the resistance comes up, surrender to it.
And so one thing that's coming to mind when you say that too, we talked about this a little bit in last week's episode of the masculine and feminine energy. Mm-hmm. And to me, masculine is very much like, we need to go see this house immediately, as soon as possible, make it happen, forcing yourself to like go take action and see it.
Exactly.
If you need some of that action, you obviously need to go visit houses to see them, walk through them, see if you like them, whatnot. But then what you did here was really tap into that feminine flowy of like, how does this feel? It's feeling very forced. It doesn't feel exciting. There was that resistance energy there, and you listened to that. Exactly. And you allowed yourself to like flow through it instead of leaning too hard into the masculine, which I know that's like usually my go-to is like action, like force your way through. Yeah. And it doesn't work out that way. Like,
no. And so if I had forced that and all of us forced it, it would have felt energetically sticky, which once again would have repelled the house that is meant for us. Like, who knows, that would actually have come to fruition if we had hung out in that forceful, sticky, masculine energy. Mm-hmm. So that was just another thing that like, if there was ever resistance in this process, I surrendered. I'm like, nope, it's not meant for us. Our house is coming and it's not this one. That's just a sign that I took. So, and once again, this is kind of just going back to everything that we've already talked about, but these next 2 texts that I have screenshotted. So we put offers on the first 2, we didn't get them. This next house I was just telling you guys about, we didn't even go see because it was just resistance from the get-go. Then 2 more houses came across our awareness and we're like, let's go check them out. So Kenzie and Zach and I all went to Grand Rapids. We checked out these houses. Now, this is actually pretty cool too. And it was a learning moment for me. So these 2 houses are the first ones that I actually got to go see because I didn't get to go see the first ones. So we go into house, I'm just going to call them house number 3 and 4. So we go check them out and I liked them, but something was off in my chest. Like I could just feel it in my chest. It was so 100% my intuition. Mm-hmm. just telling me like, these aren't the houses. But here's what, this is where the learning took place. And you guys, listening to our intuitions is such a journey, and it's a skill that you will strengthen for the rest of your life. And so I actually love when things like this happen, because it really teaches me like what my intuition really feels like. So we go out into house 3 and 4. And once again, our plan as of now is to live in the house only for a year and then start renting it and buy another one. That is our plan. So we go in house 3 and 4, and I felt off in my chest. I could feel my intuition feeling just like off. There's no better way to explain it than just like, I felt a little off in my body. But the mind in me, once again, was like, well, but these are cute. I could see myself living here. It's a good location. Like, I can live here for a year. It won't even be a year for me, because I am planning on leaving for the winter again next year. So the mind in me was like talking me out of the intuitive feeling I was feeling, because the mind was like, yeah, your intuition, like I could sense that I didn't feel like a yes in my body, but the mind in me was like, yeah, your intuition doesn't feel like yes, but like your intuition is probably thinking that like this is the home you're going to live in forever, and it's not. Which this is the mind just like trying to make up stories. Like that's not true. My intuition knows exactly what we're doing. My intuition knows our plan in life more than the mind does. Right. So this is house 3 and 4. So we leave the houses, we put offers in on both of them. And after we put offers in, I told Zach, I'm like, listen, I'm so down with putting offers in on these houses, but I want you to know. And he loves hearing this too. Like, he was mind blown as all of this kept playing out, because I'm like, I want you to know that I'm down to live in those houses, and I feel something off in my body. And I don't know what it is, but it's something is off. And he's like, okay, well, whatever. We put the offers in, we'll see what happens. So I have 2 texts that I'm looking at here from our realtor from houses 3 and 4, telling us that we did not get them. That they like both of them, we offered, I think 20, 30 grand over on both, but they both went for like 40, 50, 60 grand over. And so word for word, my text is not meant for us with a heart. And it wasn't like I was just saying that, because, you know, sometimes you're like, oh, it's not meant for me, but you don't feel the truth of it. Like I think that's like a big piece here, is I truly felt like, okay, not meant for us. If it was meant for us, we would have gotten it. Not meant for us. And then the second text that I'm about to read you guys is it's simple. It's on to the next one. So she told us we didn't get house 3. I said, not meant for us. She told us we didn't get house 4. And I said, on to the next one. But I truly felt the truth of those words. You know what I mean? It was like a full body, like, okay.
Yeah, and that, I think, again, kind of coming back to that is like, and please add on anything to this, Sarah, because I know that's something I've always struggled with, is like genuinely feeling that way, trying to genuinely feel that way when I'm not feeling that way.
Yeah.
And I know for me, like how I've kind of learned to work through some of that is to allow myself to feel whatever it is that naturally comes up.
For sure.
And not try to push it away and force it into something that's like, oh, but I'm actually grateful. You know, like Sarah and I were talking, this is not house related, but Sarah and I were talking about, you know, kind of just life and stuff. And I was sharing about how Ava is like moving now, and she is so like, she's getting into everything, and like we're having to baby proof, but it's like, I feel like I don't get a spare second of like a break, because she's constantly up moving and crawling and hurting herself and like falling over and, you know, bumping her head on this, bumping her head on that. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And it's like, I allow myself to sometimes feel that frustration or like that burnout of, you know, I'm constantly having to focus my attention onto this other person. I allow myself to feel that and then let it flow, because ultimately I am so grateful that I have this time and space to spend with her. And so that's kind of my current life, literally like today example. But it could be anything. So like, even though you're frustrated, you know, if you're trying to find a house, let's say you're feeling that frustration, like I really loved this one, I really wanted it to happen. Like it's okay to feel that way, but you don't want to get stuck in that. Right. You want to allow that feeling to flow through you so that you can then genuinely start to feel that gratitude of like, on to the next. It's going to end up with whoever it's meant to end up with. And we're going to find something, it's this or better, like we said. And I don't know if you have anything else to add to that, but I know that's a really hard piece for me, is like genuinely feeling that way when I'm actually feeling a different way.
Yeah, it's seriously just a practice of getting out of the head and into the body. So like you said, being able to actually drop into your body and feel the things, it allows you to come back to your truth that the house that is meant for me will be for me, or whatever it is that you're desiring in life, that everything's working out in perfect timing. It's when you stay in the head, in the negative thought patterns, that it's really hard to believe the truth that what's meant for you will always find its way to you. When you stay in the head, overthinking things, overanalyzing things, being mad about things, you stay stuck in the head. So it's a matter of, like you said, getting into your body and letting yourself feel it. And I'm not going to say that with these four, that the first four that we didn't get, I'm not going to sit here and say that there wasn't any disappointment, because there definitely was like a little bit of, I can explain it because I'm so familiar with the feeling, like caving into the chest, like kind of like a punch in the gut, like, oh, we didn't get it again.
Yeah.
But when I felt that, I allowed myself to feel it really quickly, because once again, you guys, it's a practice. Like, it doesn't happen overnight, but I've been practicing for the last 4 years, letting myself feel. So at this point, with things like this, and not always, there are bigger things in life that happen that it's a whole process to feel through it. But in these situations, when we got to know, there was a quick little like punch in the chest kind of a feeling, and I would drop into my body and feel it and kind of like let my body contract, take a deep breath, and instantly my truth would come up, like, on to the next one. It's not meant for us. Like, I could feel the truth in my body. So it's about feeling the feels so you can get out of your head and return to your truth, that it's all working out. And then also just like, I've practiced that belief for 4 years as well, reminding myself that everything's happening for me in perfect timing, and trusting that, like I just said, what's meant for me will always find its way to me.
Love it.
I've practiced buying into that belief and really making that my reality for 4 years. So I think that's also why it was easier for me to truly trust that, because I believe in like God, spirit, higher power, universe. And I believe that I am so supported. And I believe that we all are, we all are, and we are more supported when we are open to receiving that support. So for me, it was really easy for me to trust that the house that is meant for me will be mine, because I believe that I'm always supported, and that God, universe, spirit wouldn't give me anything that's not meant for me. And like, I also believe that God, spirit, universe, whatever you guys believe in, was and is supporting the people who did receive those first 4 houses. So like, whoever got those first 4 houses that we put offers on didn't get, God, universe, spirit is supporting those 4 individuals, or those 4 families, or those 4 investors, or whoever bought them, and that was meant for them. So I think like my connection to the divine, which once again has been a practice, and it's an ongoing practice, really helped me here.
Love that.
So let's get into the juicy stuff now. Okay, so these are the 4 houses. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of that backstory to show you how I showed up in the process of this. Now, back it up a second, because this is kind of fun just to play with. Zach and I, when we decided what we wanted out of a house, we also decided a date. So him and I agreed that if we did not have a house by May 9th of 2022, we would move out, because we want to be back in the city, and we're not in the city right now. We'd move out, we'd go find an apartment in the city until we got a house. So we put that out into the universe, like May 9th was our date. So, and this is like all just so divine. So I was supposed to go to a bridal shower of my cousins on the other side of the state, and Zach was going to go with me. It's a 3-hour drive. We were going to drive there, drive back all in one day. So it was a lot of driving. And I actually sold my car before I went to Europe. So we are using one car right now, Zach and I. And long story short, something happened at work, and Zach got called in for the entire weekend. So we couldn't go to the bridal shower. So that Friday before the bridal shower, which was supposed to be Saturday, which once again, we were supposed to go there, be there all day. This house, or 2 houses, came across our awareness on Friday, and I fell in love with them. So I sent him the realtor. Zach didn't have to be to work on that Saturday until like 2:30 p.m. And I actually think we found like 3 or 4 that we wanted to go see. So I sent them to my realtor and they all worked out, like perfect timing. She was available. Zach was available until 2:30. I was available. We got all the showings in before he had to be to work at 2:30. And mind you, like we would have never been able to even go see these houses had he not got, because when he first got called into work all weekend, we were bummed. I was bummed that I couldn't go to the bridal shower. He was bummed that he had to work all weekend. But had that not happened, we would have never went to see these houses. And all of the offers were due like soon. So we had to go see them Saturday if we were going to put an offer in. So we wake up, we go to Grand Rapids. Our realtor has a husband who Zach we're all like just really good friends. We're a really good couple of friends. So she texted me and was like, Luke's coming. And I'm like, heck yeah, like this is going to be fun. So once again, just good vibes, magical flowing energy, like 4 friends checking out houses together. How fun. So we show up to this first one and we walk in and it's the first one out of all of them that I've seen that my body was like, yes. Like my intuition was like, there wasn't that weird off feeling in my chest. It was just a full body. Yes. I love this house. We belong here. This is ours. And I will say that I didn't even say it out loud. Like, this is ours. The mind in me had a fear of doing that, especially in front of these 3 other people who aren't fully, well, they are into, once again, the manifestation, but like, they also still see the stats of the housing market. And it's like this house that we walked into, that it was a full body yes. It was the nicest one that any of us had seen. And so thinking about the 3 prior offers that we put in $30K or higher on all of those. They went for over $30K asking, and they weren't as nice as this house. Does that make sense? So it's like we walk in this house, and once again, Zach and I have a budget. We're only willing to go $30K over, no more than that. So we walk into this house. It's the most beautiful one. So the minds in us are like, yeah, well, we put in $30K over on all these other houses that were shittier than this one. This one's beautiful. It was recently renovated. On top of that, this is the only one that we saw out of all of them. So we ended up putting offers, I think, on 6 total. This is the only one out of all of them that didn't have occupancy. So if you guys you don't know what that is, it's like a lot of the times right now in this market, when you buy a home, it takes about 30 days to close. And then you have to give the people who live there another 30 days to get out. So for a lot of the houses, you have to wait 2 months to move in. So this house, not only was it a full body yes, but it was the only one that was empty, that like the minute we close, we get occupancy. So just so many pieces were aligning. And once again, the minds in us are like, this is a steal, like great price, great location, beautiful house, newly renovated, no occupancy. Like this is going to go for like 50 grand over, 100 grand over. Like this is the nicest one I've seen. But my body and my soul was like, yes, like this is ours. So we see this house, we all love it. All of us fall in love with it. We go see 2 more that day. And once again, with the next 2, like the next one we went and saw, the mind in me was like, this is really cute. Like I could live here. It was vibey. It had beautiful paintings on the walls. It was gorgeous. But once again, that feeling in my chest was back. Like, it just doesn't feel super right. Like, yeah, let's make an offer. It's fine. We can make an offer, but it doesn't feel right. So we see the houses, we go home, we end up putting offers on that house that was a full body yes. And then the second one that, once again, the mind was like, this is cute, but I don't know, it doesn't feel right. So we put those offers in, and now jump to Tuesday. So this was all on Saturday. So actually, no, back it up, Sunday. So the next day was Easter, and we went over to Zach's parents' house. And with manifestation, I'm sure you guys have experienced this before. It can sometimes be hard for the mind to get on board behind getting excited, because our biggest fear is disappointment. So like the minds might struggle to get excited about a house that you really desire, because it's like, well, what if we don't get the house? Yeah. But for whatever reason, like not for whatever reason, my soul knew that this was our house. So I pulled up the house and I showed Zach's sisters. So he has 2 sister-in-laws and his mom, and he showed his dad. So it's like, we were letting ourselves get excited about this house, even though stats say, and with the way the market's going, there's no way we're getting this house if we only offer 30 grand over, because all these other houses that are shittier have been going for 35, 40, 50, 55, 60 plus over, 60,000 plus over. So even though the stats and the odds were not in our favor, for whatever reason, Zach and I were like, this is our house. Let's show everybody, because we know it's ours. So that was like really getting our belief behind this. So that was Sunday. And I sent the link to my mom. Like we were just letting ourselves act as if it was ours, which is a big piece of quantum leaping and is a big piece of manifestation, is like act like the thing is already yours. That's like a key to getting what you desire. So this is Sunday. So then Tuesday comes and I was having like one of those days where I just couldn't focus. And so I hadn't been for a walk since I got home to Michigan because it's been really cold, but it was kind of nice out that day. And I look at the time and it was like 2:50 and I knew offers were due by 3:00 on that house. So I'm like, and we also offered once again, just 30K over because that was in our budget. That was all we could offer. And so I was like, I'm going to go for a walk. I left my phone home. I left it charging on my bed. I'm like, I'm going to go for a walk and I'm going to visualize the fuck out of getting this house. You guys, it's like, once again, the most bizarre manifestation story I have for you guys because of the timing that it happened in. So it's 2:55. I go for this walk, the entire walk. It was like an hour-long walk. And I didn't even know if we would hear back that day because sometimes they have like, okay, offers are due at 3, but like, we'll get back to you tomorrow morning. So I had no idea when they would get back to us, but all I knew was they were about to choose an offer at 3. So I go for this walk. I'm visualizing everything. I'm visualizing us moving in. I sat on a bench at the park and I closed my eyes and I visualize all of it. I visualize getting back to my house, having missed calls from Kenzie and Zach saying that we got the house, which it's just, even saying it out loud is just so weird to me because of how fucking divine it was. So I visualize all of it. I visualize having missed calls. I visualize them telling us we get the house. I visualize us signing. I visualize us moving in. I visualize how I'm going to decorate it. I visualize us having parties. Like I visualized everything that I could for us to get this house. So I go through this whole process and I'm on my walk back to my house. And once again, I start to tap into the visualization of me having missed calls from them, not knowing if we'd even hear back today. I get into my house and this is where the doubt comes up. So this is something I teach my clients that's very, very important to remember and to buy into. I walk into my front door and a lot of me right now is like, I'm going to go walk up to my phone and there's going to be missed calls. And then I hear this thought of like, but what if there's not missed calls? What if you guys didn't get the house and you just got excited and you're going to be disappointed? What I tell my clients and what I fully believe, and I stopped myself in that moment and bought back into, is you get to give 99% of your belief to what you desire. And that 1% is like, okay, well, what if I don't get the house? Well, if we don't get the house, I know I'll be okay. If I feel disappointed, and even if I have to tell everybody we didn't get the house, it's going to be okay. I know I'll be okay. So why would I ever give any of my energy or any of my thoughts to what I don't want? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
It's like, why would I give any attention to like, what if we don't get the house? Because if I know if we don't get the house, I'll be okay. So
right. Well, it goes back to what we were saying earlier about how, you're still surrendering to allowing things to be the way that they need to be.
Right. Yeah.
So there's still, you're not coming from that place of scarcity, but that place of abundance and gratitude. You're excited. You're allowing yourself to really lean into that feeling and that excitement and that visualization, which is such a powerful, powerful practice. And I've got a couple stories about visualizing too, that are just, it's amazing. You guys, if you're not doing it, start doing it. But you also know and trust that if this house that you've been visualizing about doesn't happen, if you don't get those text messages, if someone else ends up getting it, it's okay.
Yeah. So, but then at the same time, it's like, yeah, I will be okay. But like with that, so why give any of whatever you guys want in life right now? It's like, why give any attention to what if it doesn't work? Because if it doesn't work, you're going to be all right. Life will go on. You'll be okay. So why give any attention to that? So like I had that thought walking into my house and I'm like, nope, not buying, like not giving attention to that. I'll be okay. But let's go back to like me walking up and like having this missed calls. And once again, I've never manifested this quickly before. It's never been like this quick of a process because I literally walked into my bedroom, sat down, flipped over my phone, and I had 2 missed calls from Zach, 3 missed calls from Kenzie. And instantly my heart dropped. I just knew. I'm like, we got the house. It was so bizarre. So I call Zach and he's like, dude, we got the house. I'm like, I know I did. He goes, did you see my text? I'm like, no, but I know. Like I literally just visualized oh my God, it was just so bizarre. So
that is incredible.
This is the coolest thing is that, so they chose at 3, right? That's when I was on my walk. That's when I was sitting on the bench visualizing. We were not even the highest bid. Did I tell you that?
You did, but I have so many questions. So like,
we weren't the highest bid.
Did they explain?
Said, no, the realtor, because we still don't know who the sellers are, but the realtor told our realtor, yeah, they weren't the highest bid. They were a bit under the highest bid. But for whatever reason, our clients, they literally said word for word, we felt drawn to their offer. Chills all over my body. Of course, they felt drawn to our offer because I was sitting on the park bench, putting my visualizing, manifestation, energetic powers out to the universe as they were choosing. So of course, my offer, like I almost see it. And obviously, once again, the energetic realm and manifesting is not seen. But what I visualize it as is like, there are all these offers sitting in front of them, right? So there's all these different numbers. And I just like visualize our paper glowing. It's like they were drawn to ours. And I was making the paper glow from miles and miles and miles away on a park bench, visualizing it.
Wow.
They felt drawn to our offer.
Like, these are the things that our mind needs. They need stories like this, that it's like our mind tells us the highest offer is going to be the one that they are going to pick. And you are now living proof of that not being true. And I've heard of that before. Again, this is more like, a couple of years ago when I was more in the buying market and hearing these kind of stories, but it's not always the case. And that's where we get to tap into that energetic realm and visualize and practice these things so that we can use that like energetic energy in the universe to create the reality that we desire, even if it doesn't make sense in our minds.
But these things, that's the thing, these things don't make sense. They will never, the minds think they need to make sense. Like these things, your wildest dreams, they will never make sense. They will never make sense to the mind. There will never be rationale behind them. Like they will not make sense. And the thing is, Mary, like we could have very easily bought in to the ideas that this is the nicest house we've seen. We ended up, like I said, we put offers on 6, but we ended up seeing like 8 or 9, but we only offered on 6. This house was the most beautiful one. Like I said, again, it was the only one that did not have occupancy. It was the only one.
And it is gorgeous. You sent the listing, like, oh my goodness.
Beautiful. Checks every single box that Zach and I created at the beginning of this process. It checks all the boxes. It's such a vibe. And it's the best one out of all of them we've seen. So we could have bought into like, yeah, but all the rest of them were crappier and they went for way more over than what we're offering right now. We could have bought into like the idea that there's no way if we only offer 30K over, there's no way we're going to get this house, but we didn't. But if we would have bought into that, chances are that would have been a reality and we wouldn't have gotten the house, but we didn't. We chose to buy into the energetic realm and the trust and the belief. And once again, it's just like it full circles everything. So those first 4 houses that we put offers in on, because like I said, we put offers on 6, but I think we ended up pulling our 6th offer because we got this one before those ones were due. So with the other houses, like my belief and my trust, there's evidence of that, because even though there was one house out of the 4 that I'm like really drawn to, I still trusted that, okay, it's not meant to be for us. And it's true, because this house is even better. This house is an even better location. And I'm way more obsessed with it. It doesn't need renovated like that first one did. It's just so aligning. So we got the house and
so excited for you guys.
Once again, so flowy, every single step, like everything since then has been going so smooth. Once we accepted the offer, the inspector that's usually booked out 2 weeks just happened to have a slot in his calendar for our area, like 2 days after. Yeah. So got it inspected, everything checked out there. The appraiser is coming tomorrow. Like everything is just flowing. It's moving so smoothly. And that's how I know, once again, just more proof that this house was meant for us all along. And some might say, well, like, yeah, why, why didn't you just manifest this house right away? Or like, why did you even have to go see the other houses if like you trust that the one that's meant for you will make its way to you? Because I know I've gotten caught up in that before. And it's like those 4 houses that we offered on and got no's to, they happened for us, because every single thing in life that we face is here to teach us. And through those offers that we got no, like my resiliency built through those 4 no's. My trust in the universe and God and my path and what's meant to be for me will make its way to me it built and it strengthened through those first no's. But I didn't have to have 20 no's before I got a yes, because I also was playing in the energetic field and the quantum field with manifestation as we were going through this process. So that is the story. We have a house. We are so stoked.
I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. So
such a good story. And you guys, if you have any questions, like after we've kind of gone through this, if there's anything that you'd like us to expand a little bit more on, again, you can always message us and we would love to go even deeper on certain things. Let's just turn this into a real estate podcast, because I feel like it's something that Sarah and I both do kind of like on the side now. And it's something we can share a lot about if there's that interest there. I'm kidding. We're not going to turn this into a real estate podcast, but
we can have side episodes on it.
Yeah, but it's good to, these are definitely things that we can chat and go deeper on. And I think having that real life example, like I feel like I learned so much just hearing the way that you worked through and flowed through that situation. Mm-hmm. And I think that those lessons can be applied to any situation, anything that you are trying to manifest in your own life, whether it's in the housing market or in your career, in your relationship, in your family life, like whatever that is that you are desiring, like Sarah just gave so many good examples of how you can use visualization and you can use working with your emotions and your feelings, and you can take in all that data around you and not put judgment on it, but just allow it to be data of like, this is where I want to flow. This is where I don't want to flow. Like allow those things to be, practice it all the time, and it'll become easier and easier and easier. And you'll be able to manifest these things quicker and quicker.
Exactly. And I do want to give a shout out to my realtor as well, because I need to give her credit as well, because she every morning does a gratitude list. She's also a podcast listener. She's in the Pretty Vibe tribe. So is her daughter. So every morning on her gratitude list, she wrote down, I'm so grateful for Sarah and Zach's house. I'm so grateful for Sarah and Zach's house. So like she was already grateful for our house before it came into existence. And she definitely helped us with like the visualization, the manifestation process. She was totally backing us. So like that's something too. And once again, we're talking about real estate. So if you are looking to buy a house in the future, I think it's really great to find a realtor who's into this kind of stuff. But no matter what it is in life, like for me, when I'm choosing somebody to help me with something, whether it's like buying a house or, for example, cleaning my house, we are going to hire somebody who will help us, will come clean our house like a couple times a month when we move into this house. And I really believe in hiring somebody who's in alignment with holistic health and who would be more than willing and more than happy to use clean products in my house. So it's like, when you are searching for outside help and whatever it is, one day when I'm a mother and I need to hire a nanny, I will be choosing wisely, like somebody who can help instill these practices, these manifestation practices, and like creating your own beliefs and creating your own reality in my children. So it's like when you're going to hire somebody to help you with something, I think it's really powerful to get to know them and to figure out like, hey, are you into spirituality? Like, do you believe in manifestation? Like, can you help me manifest? Instead of, because for example, if I had a realtor who was like completely buying into like, oh, this market's so hard, it's going to be impossible, like expect to get a bunch of no's before you get a yes, like it's just so hard. If I had a realtor like that, it probably wouldn't have been as easy and as flowy, and we probably wouldn't have manifested this house. So like, I'm just going to shout her out. So I think her name on Instagram is Mackenzie Gentry Homes. You guys, you see me tag her all the time. So look her up if you're in Michigan. I also know one of my clients, I'll shout her out too, Heather Barahona Homes. So I follow both of them. So if you guys are in New Jersey, because that's where she's at, New Jersey or Michigan, and you are looking for real estate, go check them out, because they are two real estate agents who are fully embodied in like manifesting and law of attraction, and will totally help you. But look for people in life to help you who are in alignment with what you believe and who want to make the process lighter and easier for you. Because if you hire anybody who has a negative mindset, who buys into limiting beliefs, it's just going to be more of a struggle.
Yeah, it's going to be that much harder. Absolutely.
Yeah. Right.
This is good.
Thank you guys so much for listening to my story. I literally I had to share all the details here. I've been waiting. I post on my story like, oh, I'll share the process soon. And I haven't shared it yet because I've been waiting for this episode. So I'm really glad that I got to share all the deets. And I hope that this inspired you guys in some way to use manifestation in your own life, because it is so freaking powerful and so fun.
Amazing. Amazing. We love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. All of your love and support means the world to us. If you haven't already, be sure to rate and review the podcast. That is hands down the easiest way and free way for you to help support us in what we are doing here, trying to spread the love and the good vibes to as many people as possible. Always check us out on Facebook and Instagram at hervibeisprettypodcast. And we'll catch you on the next episode.
Bye, guys.
Love you. Bye.